People say you're worrying too much when they see you staring into space, quiet, detached, replaying conversations that haven't happened yet. They label you anxious, pessimistic, dramatic. They don't see the dozens of future scenarios running in your mind while you sit perfectly still. They don't see the mental simulations, the calculated pauses, the silent preparation. To them, it looks like fear. But what they're really witnessing is a mind that refuses to walk blindly into the unknown. Here's the truth most people never understand. Overthinking the future isn't always weakness. In many cases, it's a sign of depth, intelligence, and a nervous system that learned early that being unprepared was dangerous. Your mind didn't start doing this by accident. It adapted. It learned that predicting outcomes, even imaginary ones, felt safer than being surprised by reality. And while the world praises spontaneity, it quietly benefits from people like you, the ones who see storms forming before the clouds even appear. People who overthink future scenarios that never happen aren't living in fantasy. They're running internal rehearsals. The brain is doing what it does best, trying to control uncertainty. And uncertainty is the one thing the human mind hates more than pain. When you overthink, you're not trying to suffer. You're trying to survive with dignity. There's a certain type of person who learned this early, the silent observer. This is the one who grew up watching more than speaking. They noticed patterns in people's moods, shifts in tone, subtle changes in energy. They learned that one wrong word could change everything. So their mind started running simulations. If I say this, then that might happen. Over time, those simulations expanded into the future. Conversations not yet spoken. Conflicts not yet real. Outcomes not yet possible. To the outside world, the silent observer looks withdrawn. But inside, they're 10 steps ahead, already mapping exits, preparing responses, minimizing damage. Then there's the betrayed soul. This person wasn't born an overthinker. They were made. A broken promise. A sudden abandonment, a future they trusted that collapsed without warning. After that moment, their mind decided never again. Never again will I be caught off guard. So they began imagining every possible future scenario, not because they expect the worst, but because they refuse to be naive again. Their overthinking is a shield. If they've already felt the pain in their mind, it can't destroy them in real life. Or at least, that's what the brain tells itself. Another type hides behind calm logic, the strategic realist. This person is often intelligent, introspective, and misunderstood. They don't believe in blind optimism. They believe in probability. When they imagine futures that never happen, it's not because they're anxious, it's because they're testing reality. They're stress testing life the same way engineers stress test bridges. What could break? What could fail? Where are the weak points? The problem is, society rewards confidence, not caution. So the strategic realist is told to relax, when in reality, they're the reason things don't fall apart. And then there's the emotional time traveler. This is the one whose mind moves faster than their body. They don't just think about the future, they feel it. They emotionally experience outcomes that never occur. Relief, regret, loss, satisfaction, all in advance. Their nervous system doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So every imagined future leaves a real emotional trace. This is why they're exhausted. Not because too much is happening, but because too much has already happened inside them. What connects all these types is not fear, it's responsibility. Overthinkers carry an invisible weight. They believe their choices matter deeply. They believe consequences are real. While others act and adjust later, overthinkers adjust first, then act, if they act at all. And yes, sometimes this leads to paralysis. Sometimes it leads to missed opportunities. But it also leads to fewer regrets, deeper self-awareness, and a rare kind of emotional intelligence. The irony is that most of the futures you overthink will never happen. Not because you were wrong, but because you adapted. Your mind quietly guided you away from danger, toward safer paths, into better timing. You prevented outcomes so effectively that you convinced yourself you were foolish for worrying at all. This is the paradox of foresight. When it works, it looks unnecessary. But here's where overthinking becomes dangerous. Not when you imagine the future, but when you mistake imagination for prophecy. When every scenario feels inevitable. When your mind stops being a tool and starts being a prison. The same intelligence that protects you can also trap you if left unchecked. Stoic wisdom teaches this clearly. You suffer more in imagination than in reality. Not because imagination is useless, but because it must be governed. The goal is not to stop thinking about the future. That's impossible for a mind like yours. The goal is to stop emotionally living in futures that haven't earned your presence. You are allowed to prepare without punishing yourself. You are allowed to think without condemning yourself. Depth was never meant to feel like a curse. You were never broken for seeing too far ahead. You were simply wired to notice consequences consequences in a world that prefers impulse. You don't need to become louder, faster, or more careless to fit in. You need to learn how to stand calmly inside your own mind without believing every story it tells you, because the same mind that imagines disaster is also capable of imagining growth, stability, and quiet power. And once you realize that, overthinking stops being a weakness and starts becoming discernment. So, which of these types feels closest to you? Or maybe a little bit of all of them? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If this made you think different, hit subscribe. We go deeper every day. Don't forget to like the video. It helps more people find messages like this. And if you want to connect with people who think like you, join our Discord community. The link is in the description. Mind Unfolded isn't just a channel, it's a mindset.